I want to talk to you guys about one of the most important things for me as an angler that helped me to learn in the bass fishing journey, and that is using the bad days on the water as a good thing. And I kind of started to do this when I started kayak fishing, especially. You guys can see the kayak sitting right back here. Actually about to go fish a kayak tournament, so we've got her all loaded down and ready to rock. But you know, when I started fishing in a kayak, it started to teach me, number one, you know, in the kayak, it's not like my boat. I can't sit down and run from, you know, point A to point B really, really quickly in the kayak. You know, in the kayak, I'm kind of consolidated to a, you know, certain area of the lake. And even with my motor, I can only go so far. And so what it started to teach me is that slowing down and really picking apart certain pieces of cover and structure or a bank can be super imperative to getting bites. I cannot tell you guys how many times that I would bust through a place with a spinnerbait or a buzzbait or a, you know, plopper or a choppo or whatever it may be, and I might get one or two bites, but by the time that I'm done fishing that area, I'm looking back going, you know, I didn't get the bites that I needed. Say you're in a tournament situation, or even if you're in a fun fishing situation, and you know, I'm sitting there racking my brain as to why, when realistically I just needed to slow down a little bit, and they needed to go back with something maybe a little bit slower or a little bit more finesse. You know, kayak fishing for me really taught me finesse fishing and, you know, fishing weightless baits, especially in those situations. You know, a wacky rig has become such a staple bait for me, not only in the boat, but also in the kayak, obviously. And it's just one of those things that I feel like that I can pick up in so many scenarios and go not only behind myself, but behind other people or on pressure bodies of water and be able to get bites when I wasn't getting bites before. And there's just something about that slow rate of fall, that hanging in their face, that gets those fish to eat. But one of the things is to slow down. You know, it can take a bad day and it can turn it completely around if you just slow down and you fish for the fish that live in that area. It may not be the fact that that's a bad spot. It may just be the fact that you've not presented those fish with the bait that they want. And that can really start to shift your mind in those crunch time situations, like if you are fishing in a tournament or if it's your one day on the water to get out there, that you're not like struggle busting and the wheels don't just start falling off, that you just go, hey, you know, I've been in this situation before. I just need to slow down here and let's see if we can get some bites. The second thing that the bad days taught me was good mechanics. I think good mechanics in bass fishing are so important. And what I mean by mechanics is casting, retrieving, being able to cast at different angles in different ways. Use your left hand, your right hand, use, you know, a roll cast, an underhand cast, be able to get baits into places that many other people may not be able to get them into because they can't make that cast. There's been so many days that on the bad days when I'm not catching fish, I literally will just start practicing different types of casting. It's actually how I taught myself to do a left-handed roll cast. So I can cast with both my right and my left hand, and I taught myself how to do that just because on the bad days on the water, when it seemed as though I couldn't buy a bite, I would literally just start down a bank and I'd be like, I'm gonna fish all the way down this bank just to fish down it. But as I'm casting, I'm gonna cast different ways, different angles, and I'm gonna do different things to teach myself different mechanics in the, you know, bass fishing world and in my mechanics set as a, you know, bass angler with both spinning and casting rods, and teach myself how to throw certain lures certain ways and do different things like that. The kayak again did that for me as well. Being lower to the water helped me to learn how to cast differently and be able to present lures in a very different way, and I think that that is super important. Now you're going to make some mistakes, you're going to blow some reels up, trust me, I did, but once you start to get those mechanics down, it's going to be those types of, you know, situations that you find yourself in, kind of like with what I just talked about with slowing down, that you're going to be sitting there and you're going to look at a tree with a dock next to it and a rock and be like, I can make that cast where somebody else might not be able to, and you'll be able to pick up a fish in that situation. And then the last one on turning the bad days into good ones and turning them into learning scenarios is whenever the weather kind of did not cooperate or do what I wanted it to do. And there's been so many situations where we've all done this. You know, you get in your boat at night, you rig all your rods and reels up, you've got this preconceived notion of what the day is going to hold the next day. You get out there with all your lures because, you know, it's sunny, it's 70 degrees, the water's this, the water's that, and then the weatherman is just totally wrong, and it throws a wrench into your plan. And a lot of the times for some anglers, the wheels will fall off. And I know that I've been in that situation before where the wheels have just fallen off because it's not going the way that I thought it was going to go based on, you know, the weather conditions that, what say your weather app or the weatherman said that they were going to be. In those situations, so many times, I have made just the slightest adjustments on, you know, how I am fishing a bank at a certain angle, or the color that I'm using, or just a bait. Like, you know, I'll go from fishing a white slobber knocker to a green pumpkin slobber knocker, or vice versa, or whatever it may be. And I have gone from catching no fish to catching a ton of fish. And, you know, that bad day, or what could have been that bad day on the water, was adjusted because I was willing to be a little bit more open-minded about what I was going to do. And kind of the tip there is fish the conditions. You know, it's kind of like guys who play golf. You got to play the conditions, right? If you got a headwind blowing into you 20 miles an hour, I guess try to Bryson DeChambeau it and drive the green. But for us as anglers, we can make small adjustments and things that if you start to kind of build the Rolodex up of ideas that you'll get in, again, situations where you're looking at a day, you're going, hey, I've been here before and I know what to do. And the thing is if you're still kind of struggling with what that looks like, say you do got these lures tied on and you're like, well, what about XYZ, this, and this? Go experiment. Fish with your instincts, fish your gut, fish the conditions. If something looks right and you think a bait should work there, tie it on and see what happens. I can't tell you how many times that I've learned brand new ways to catch bass on bodies of water I've been to 1,000 times just by fishing my gut and fishing the conditions. So don't let the bad days get you down. Turn them around and use them for good, and turn them into a day where you can learn something on the water to catch more bass. And if you guys want to see a day when literally the wheels fell off for me and the conditions are absolutely horrible, but I turned it around and actually ended up winning a kayak tournament, click this video that's popping up right here.